Hello, my name is Steve Miller. I'm here to talk about how do you make government actually work. And the trick turns out to be effective advocacy, activated, organized citizenship. Now, it wasn't that long ago that when you looked at popular culture and the image of politics in this country was of a TV show called The West Wing. There, the president was so moral. He used to quote the Bible. The big issue was, how do I do better? Today, if you watch TV, the image of government is House of Cards, which the real question is, how many people can you kill and get away with it? What's happened? There's a kind of transformation of our image of public service and of being a democratic part of this. So one problem, I think, might be that we've become a nation of consumers. We not only consume products, but we actually step back and wait for someone else to produce our society. I think we've got to step front. We've got to be producers as well as consumers. I think we've got to look to we, the people, as the ones who are actually involved. And the key to this, I think, is active citizenship, is getting involved, is being part of the society and the governance process that we know about. We need to make our voice heard. We need to be able to talk out loud, and I think it's really important to not do this on your own. There's some things you can do on your own, write a letter, make a phone call, but it's when you come together that we go from individuals to society. We go from proto-anarchy to democratic governance. First thing you need to know, though, is what's the source of influence when you're organized? And I think there's three sources of influence when you are trying to be an advocate. One is to protest. The key about protesting is you're demanding attention from the powers that be. You're saying, no, I don't want what's ever happened in the past to happen again. This is why protest is often an anti-phenomena. It's a veto. You have anti-racism, anti-development, anti-pollution, anti-whatever it is. Protest is about saying, I want this to stop. That's really important. That's the start of everything. It's people power, because all you need is your body. But the problem with protest is you don't control what's done in response to your protest. You could spend 20 years protesting unequal education, and what you might get is busing, which wasn't what you had asked for in the first place. So the second thing about advocacy is pushing. Now, lobbying is a bad term in our society. We all think it's about having sort of bags of money that you go in. And in fact, lobbying really is about trading something. It is an inside game. But it's also what advocates do. Because what you're trading is popular public support and understanding of an issue in exchange for votes. Lobbying by itself is not a bad idea. The key thing is we've got to figure out ways through the media, through connections, through our personal visits, to push for what we want. Protest stops what we don't want. Pushing is how we get what we do want, or at least we design it at a high level, because the next step is partnership. Just because you have a program you like doesn't mean it's done the way you want it to be done. If you really want a new institution, a new policy, a new organization to be run well, you've got to get on the inside, either directly by getting yourself hired, or indirectly by helping shape the policies, shaping the way the training happens. Partnership. Now, the hardest part of partnership for an advocate who spent all these years fighting the agency is suddenly you are part of the agency. Part of what the agency is doing is your responsibility. It's a delicate process because at that point, you are them. And it's very hard to keep pushing from the outside if the agency is not doing as well as you hoped they would do in the first place. So the trick to successful partnership is 1 foot in and 1 foot out. How do you play both sides? Influence the inside, but also work on the outside to maintain the pressure if things don't go well. So to summarize here, for influence, protest, demanding attention, stopping business as usual, putting your body on the line. The second is pushing, lobbying for the vision you have of what should be. And the third is partnership, making sure the vision becomes real. But this is not enough. There's actually a couple more things you've got to think about as you move forward. There are political functions in the larger world to advocacy. First is developing political will. So part of what you're doing all those sources of influence for is getting to yes. Getting Mayor Menino to say, yes, Boston is going to go from being the nation's worst bicycling community to its world-class best. Getting the government to say, yes, we're going to start daycare centers. Getting to yes. Very important. Second thing is ensuring capacity. Making sure that the agency that you've convinced, the government body you've got going, to do what you want actually can do it. I'm active in bicycle things. When we first convinced the city of Boston to start a bicycle program, there wasn't a single official, either in government or in any of the agencies and corporations and vendors and consultants who they were hiring to do transportation planning, who had ever actually designed a bike lane. No one had wanted one for 25 years or longer in Boston. So we had to figure out ways to pull people in from the outside, from other cities, to develop the capacity. Worst thing you could do is have the first example of the thing you've been fighting for 10 years to be really lousy, because it discredits the entire concept. So, first, political will. Second, capacity. And third, believe it or not, is as soon as you have a change, you've got somebody who doesn't like it. Because by definition, you're changing the status quo. Somebody who liked it the way it was is going to push back. In this case, people who drive cars, perhaps. So, you've got to then develop a whole series of mobilizations to get the public to say, not only we love what's going on, but we want more. Because the final step here is to figure out, how do you institutionalize it? How do you make it permanent? How do you keep it going as part of the budget even after you go away? So, political will, professional capacity, and public support for the long term. So, the important thing here to remember is that as you do all this, even in our instant payoff society, our instant gratification culture, it takes a long time. So you've got to keep on keeping on. And the way you keep the energy to do that is to remember you're not alone. You are, in fact, part of a movement. And the movement will keep going as you keep it going and after you're done going. So remember, to have effective advocacy, you have to use all your forms of influence, and you have to understand and work through each of the political functions you've got to go through. Thank you.